Okay, so I'm guessing the streaming has started. Hello, good people. Hopefully, you were aware that there is going to be a quant PYQ of XAT workshop happening on this channel right now. In case you're interested, you can join us on YouTube and see whatever we are going through, as in whatever we are going to do. This is the format of this is I am in a class with a few students. We are going to solve questions, as in whatever challenges arise, we are going to resolve them together. I'm planning to go through some 31 questions. Hopefully, we are able to fulfill our target. So, let me share the screen with you. Hopefully, you can see the screen. And these questions are from different areas. Some are from numbers, some are from arithmetic, some are from different sorts of places. All sorts of, as in all topics I've tried to touch upon briefly. And a certain tendency that XAT has of, let's say, the image that XAT has, it has a very difficult quant section, or it has a more difficult quant section than CAT. See, that image is would perhaps be justified when we were doing it back in early 2010s. That time Zat indeed had some weird questions, but of late, in the last, let's say, 5, 6 years, most of the questions in the QA section of Zat are fairly reasonable. If at all there are questions that require a little bit of, fine tuning and understanding, those questions are usually such that if you can apply a little bit of logic, you can get around to solving them without necessarily having to know very high funda things. Okay, so let's start. The way this will go down is I'll display a question. I'll give you roughly 3 minutes to solve it. Once that 3 minute is up, then we will look at the solution. So I don't know. I have a on-screen timer. Can you see that on-screen timer, people? दिख रहा है क्या? नहीं ना? This is very दुखदाई because I wanted to show that on-screen timer. ये टीटी क्लॉक चल ही नहीं रहा. तो जूम में होता है कुछ फंक्शनैलिटी जिससे टाइमर वाइमर दिख जाए. अब नहीं है तो बस ये मान के चलो, व्हेन आई टेल यू इट इज अप, इट इज अप. ठीक है, ट्रस्ट मी व्हेन आई टेल यू 3 minutes आर अप. और is it now visible? Still not visible. It is like program options keep on top नहीं रखा तो क्या कर सकते हैं, तब भी नहीं है. So uh, I will let you know when 3 minutes are about to be up. So trust me that 3 minutes ka timer is that is running is valid. Okay, first question is visible. 3 minutes timer has started. Please try.
यार यार मैं देख रिकॉर्डिंग है कि
Okay. If at all you do manage to arrive at your answer within that 3 minute time frame, please go ahead and mention your answer in chat, whether whichever platform you are currently on. Okay, I have one answer through. Final 50 odd seconds. Oh, another 5. Okay. Final few seconds in progress. Final 10 now. Hopefully you heard that audio. That was the time getting over. Okay. Now, see, this is a very, very exemplary XAT question, wherein the stuff that they've asked us is in the form of a story, in the form of a long drawn story, which is a tendency that CAT is also picking up in the recent years. But for that, this has been the norm for a very long time. Now, in order to understand what is happening here, perhaps the language part of the maths thing is more critical. Three VPs regularly visit the plant on different days. Due to labor unrest, VP HR regularly visits the plant after a gap of 2 days. So if I'm looking at travel habits of VP HR, let's say he visits on day one, then he will visit after a gap of 2 days. So what is the next day that he would visit? What is the next day that he visits? It is day 4 that he visits on next day. He visits on day 1, he visits on day 4, then there is a gap of 2 days, no? If he visits on day 3, the number of days between his two consecutive visits is 2. The gap between his visits is not 2. He visits on day 1, then on day 4. Then 2 gaps again, then he visits on day 7. Then 2 gaps again, then he visits on day 10, and so on. That is how VPHR behaves. And this is where most likely our error of interpretation happened for us to get to decidedly the wrong answer. Okay. VP sales regularly visits the plants after a gap. Oh, sorry. VP operations regularly visits the plant after a gap of 3 days. So if you're the VP ops guy, if you visit on day 1, next day you visit on after a gap of 3 days. So you will visit on day 5, then you will visit on day 9, then you will visit on day 13, and so on. Now VP sales, the third fellow in the story, VP sales regularly visits the plant after a gap of 5 days. So if he visits on day 1, a gap of 5 days, he will next visit on day 7, then on day 13, then on day 19, and so on. Now, this question you can, if at all you go down the path of classifying questions according to which topic they're from, you can classify it as progressions, you can classify it as numbers, whatever storyline you like. For us, I like calling it family of numbers. This is 3n plus 1. This is 4k plus 1. And this is 6m plus 1. So, if I'm looking for the day on which all three of them would simultaneously visit, it would be on days that are 12n plus 1 type of days. On day 1, they are coming. On day 13 also they would be coming, all three of them. And then simultaneously on the subsequent 1, 12, 25, 37, so on and so forth, they would keep on going. Okay. The VPs do not deviate from their individual schedules. CEO of the company meets the VPs when all the three VPs come together, come to the plant together. Wonderful. CEO is on leave from January 5th to January 28th. January 5th to January 28th. Last time the CEO met the VPs was on January 23. So the days on which are storyline wise, the days on which these VPs are coming to the plant simultaneously and CEO is visiting them, Day 1, day 12, day 25, day 37. But we have been told day 1 for us is as good as Jan 3. If day 1 is Jan 3, can I say day 12 would be Jan 14? If day 1 is Jan 3, sorry, this is wrong, no? Not 12, 13 hona chahiye. And this should be day 13 is as good as Jan 15, and day 25 is as good as Jan 27. We know our CEO is on leave from Jan 5th to Jan 28th. So he will not be available on this day. He will not be available on this day. Now here, when we are moving forward, see 25 to 37, we need 12 more days. Jan 27 के बाद we have 28, 29, 30, 31. 4 more days in Jan. And then the 8 days in February would be piling up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Or 37th day would be equivalent to February 8th. And that is the day on which our CEO will be meeting the VPs after January 3rd. Yo, it is simply they have defined it as a gap of 2 days, a gap of 5 days. So the visits have to be separated by those many days, not that two consecutive visits happen as in the अर्लियर इंटरप्रिटेशन डे 1 को आ गया और डे 3 को आ गया और डे 1 को आ गया और डे 4 को आ गया और डे 1 को आ गया और डे 6 को आ गया द गैप इज ओनली 1 डे द गैप इज ओनली 3 days here and the gap is only 5 days sorry not 5 days here the gap is only 2 days here and the gap is only 4 days here which is not what the information gave us. Okay, let's go to the next question. Please try this one and the timer is ongoing. 3 minutes is perhaps too much for this. I'll stop it at 2 this time. Minute has passed. 1 more minute to go. Last 20 odd seconds left. And that's it. Our time is done. Now see, this question is simply preying on our insecurities and tendencies too. Even when we are relatively sure we wouldn't mark it. Hopefully we understand this question is from base systems. The one topic that people don't like studying because catch में थोड़ी पूछते हैं भाई हर जगह पूछते हैं. If you're not aware of this, then you're potentially missing out on easy questions like these. This is an amazingly easy question. क्योंकि ये देखिए, consider the expression x x x b, where b is the base and x is any digit of base b. Any digit, कोई भी digit हो चलेगा. तो देखते हैं, if I have 111 in base 5, this means this is 1 into 5 square plus 1 into 5 plus 1, which is equal to 31. Is this equal to 1 cube? This is most definitely not equal to 1 cube. Or if I have 111 in base 6, next option, I'll have 1 into 6 square plus 1 into 6 plus 1, which is equal to 43, which is most definitely not equal to 1 cube. And by this time, you would also perhaps catch on, अगर हम 111 ले रहे हैं तो 7 square आ गया या 8 square आ गया. Of course, none of them would be equivalent to 1 cube. So, in none of the bases, this is going to be true. And therefore, the answer to the question should be none of the above. There is no base where any digit x repeated 3 times will get us to x cube. So, bothering and worrying about नहीं कौन सा digit होगा क्या होगा. Perhaps another way we can go down this is यहाँ पर सीधा सीधा ऑप्शन चेक करना is the simplest path. Let's say अगर base 5 होता, then would I have stated the value would be x into 5 square plus x into 5 plus x. And if this is equal to x cube, what I'm essentially getting is 31x is equal to x cube. Yeah, x square is equal to 31. And there is no integral value where this is valid. This is for the first option. Second one देख लेते हैं. 36x, I'm jumping the gun a little, 36x plus 6x plus x is equal to x cube, which would get us to x square is equal to 43. No case where this will be valid. Or 50, sorry, we are not there yet. 49x plus 7x plus x is equal to x cube. X square is equal to 57. Not possible, not possible, not possible. And finally, even if we were trying to plug in 8 and check, we would get 64x plus 8x plus x, which is equal to x cube, or x square is equal to 73, which is not possible. If all the options have been rendered impossible, then we have to go ahead and mark none of the above as the answer here. The bad way of solving this would be, and perhaps the path that some of us technical people would have chosen is b square into x plus b into x plus x is equal to x cube. And once you're stuck here, then you start thinking of, is there any value that I can fit? Is there something else that I can do? Did anyone choose to go down this path? ऐसा किसी ने फ्रेमिंग किया था अपने सवाल का? नहीं? तो ठीक है, सीधा सीधा ऑप्शन चेक करने का ही गेम था. The question was simply about checking the options. As soon as you check the options, other things will fall into place. Let's go. Next one. A, B, C are integers. Mod A is not equal to mod B is not equal to mod C. And A, B, C lie in the range minus 10 to 10. What will be the maximum possible value of A, B, C minus bracket में A plus B plus C? Please start. I've deliberately tried to keep questions not from very recent years. Because very recent years, hopefully you've taken them as mocks or test and everything. तो उससे दूर थोड़ा पुराना flavor of XAT, and especially the ones that elucidate what XAT attitude towards quant is like. This सवाल is an excellent one. That is done. 2 left now. Perhaps you can see the timer now. Okay. Okay. I have 3 3s so far. I don't want to hear that song again. So, okay. Now look at this wonderful thing. Why this is an excellent question and fun for the purposes of this. You've done maximum minimum and you've done many adjustments in maximum minimum. What this question is looking for you to focus on and identify and do is, if you're looking for maximum possible value of this entire expression, this needs to be maximized, and a plus b plus c needs to be minimized. You've got positive numbers also possible. You've got negative numbers also possible. You have to ensure that A, B, C are distinct from each other, and they're distinct from each other. But if you want this product to be maximized, there are two paths you can go down. Either all three positive or two negative and one positive, two negative and one positive. If you want this to be minimized, you want this to be as low as possible. As low as possible, preferably going into negatives. So now, given this idea, you want A plus B plus C to be as low as possible, preferably going into negatives. Between these two choices, it is very easy to identify. This is the path we have to take. We have to take two negative numbers and one positive number. Okay, if we are taking two negative numbers and we want this sum to be as low as possible, the way we will distribute it is, this is minus 10, this is minus 9, and this is 8. Most of us would have arrived at these numbers by perhaps trying to fit in numbers and checking all possible cases. But the way you arrive at those numbers is looking at these two possibilities, and then this information tells us between the two possibilities, this one is the one that works for us. And then we get maximized product of ABC would be 10 into 9 into 8, which gets us to 720. And minimized sum of ABC would be minus 10 minus 9 plus 8, which gets us to minus 11. And because we are doing 720 minus of minus 11, we get to 731. And this is the answer. A very common wrong answer that people had gotten here, because they had gone with all three positive, was the same: 10 into 9 into 8 minus 27, which will get you to 693. And the question setters are smart enough to realize this is the common error that people would make, and they've also provided that as an option. But you had to be mindful of the fact I can bring in negative numbers. Let me not avoid that possibility. Wonderful. Next question then. Let's look at this one then. I'm giving you roughly 2 minutes for this. This is not that heavy. Two. I have, sorry, that has changed to five. Okay. In this, the ZAT folks were very kind. In this, the ZAT folks were very kind. Perhaps people would have made an error if there was an option 12. Yeah. One thing, if a number is a perfect cube, whatever prime it contains, it will have a power that is divisible by 3. So 11p plus 7 has to be divisible by 3, and q minus 2 has to be divisible by 3, and r plus 1 has to be divisible by 3, and s itself has to be divisible by 3, because whichever prime is involved in the number, whichever prime is a factor, that prime number should have a power that is divisible by 3. Now p plus 7 is a perfect cube. We know this. P, Q, R, S are positive integers. Then the smallest value of P plus Q plus R plus S is. If I want P plus 7 to be a multiple of 3, the smallest possible value of P that I can take with the condition that they are positive integers is P equal to 2, which will get this totaled up to 9. My work is done. R and S I'll do first. R plus 1 has to be a multiple of 3. So smallest value that R can take is also 2. S has to be a multiple of 3. Smallest value that S can take is also 3. Now, because the way this question is framed, it is worded, a lot of people, or a lot of people, at least in that year, made the error of thinking the numbers that you get here, this is 3 here, this is 3 here, this should, q minus 2 does not have to be positive, only q has to be positive. So even if this was 0, then 7 is not a factor of this number anymore, and q equal to 2 would work, which leads us to the answer 9. This is perfectly all right. But a lot of people had made the mistake of taking q as 5 initially and then realizing it later on, oh, 5 wouldn't work because this option is not even available. Because 5 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 leads us to 12. Had there been an option 12, then perhaps more people would have fallen down that trap. But because 12 was not there, it was very kind to us. Okay, next one. This is fun. This will require your 3 minutes of attention and energy. Please try. Last minute. Okay, folks. I haven't received an answer this cycle, so this question perhaps was more difficult than earlier ones. Don't really believe so. Understand? Question in entirety. There is data. Then the options are also a part of the question. Look at this. Ram and Sham form a partnership with Sham as the working partner and start a business by investing 4,000 and 6,000 respectively. Nice. The conditions of the partnership were as follows. In case of profits till 2 lakh per annum, profits would be shared in the ratio of the invested capital. The ratio of the invested capital is 2 is to 3. Ram is to Sham. Wonderful. Profits from rupees 2 lakh 1 to 4 lakh, Sham would take 20% out of the profit before the division of remaining profits, which would be based on the ratio of the invested capital. So first 20% for the next 2 lakh amount of profit that gets earned, 20% will first go to Sham. The rest will be divided in the ratio of their investments. Wonderful. Profits in excess of 4 lakh. Sham would take 35% out of the profit beyond 4 lakh before the division of the remaining profits, which will then be based on the ratio of invested capital. Nice. Now, Sham's share in a particular year was 367,000. Which option indicates the total business profit in rupees for that year? Hopefully, we did not stop reading our question or start solving right away. We also looked at the options. And hopefully, when you look at all the options, you realize all of them have managed to reach this third stage where profits are in excess of 400,000. So, for the first 2 lakh, for the first 2 lakh, Sham would have received 3/5 of this, or he would have received 1,20,000. How much is Ram getting? I don't know. I don't care because all I'm concerned with is Sham's data point. That is what I know. For the first 2 lakh of profit, Sham received 1,20,000. For the next 2 lakh of profit, this is the range of 2 lakh 1 to 4 lakh. Sham received 20% of the profit. Just prior to that, he received 20% of the profit. So he received 40,000. And then he received 60% of 1,60,000. 60% of 1,60,000. I'm not writing it, I'm directly putting it down as 96,000, or he received 1,36,000. From the next 2 lakhs, he receives 1,36,000. Now, the final bit, the final part, we don't know how much profit he has earned here. So I am putting it down as 100x. 100x. The variable that I'm introducing is at this stage. I'm not introducing a total profit ka variable because then usme se 2 lakh hatao, and the complication that would arise with the expression there is perhaps what is holding us back from arriving at the answer anyway. So only the final portion, the one that is above 4 lakhs, I'm introducing a variable for that. Now Sham, for this section, gets 35% of the profit and then gets 3/5 of the remaining, which is 65x, or he receives 35x plus 39x, which is equal to 74x. Out of the 100, he receives 74x. Wonderful. So now look at this wonderful thing. He has received 2,56,000 plus 74x, which is equal to 3,67,000. और 74x is equal to 1,11,000. 37 से कटेंगे दोनों, so I get 2x is equal to 3,000 और x is equal to 1,500. If x is 1,500, first 2 lakh of profit, next 2 lakh of profit, and then in this portion we have 1,50,000 of profit. Altogether, what is the total profit earned by the business in this period? It is 5,50,000. The good way of solving here was, if you've got, see, this is, let's say, income tax calculation. If you've got it in tranches, if you've got it in bands, then make sure you only take a variable in that band, you only take a variable in that band in which the work is getting done halfway, or ये तो पूरा ही यूज हो रहा था, ये तो पूरा ही यूज हो रहा था, तो introducing a variable right at the beginning for total profit and then doing your work, the expression, perhaps that is the trouble we faced. We came up with a variable for the full profit, no people. उसी चक्कर में आंसर आने में टाइम लगा या एक्सप्रेशन गंदा बना. Okay, let's go to the next one. Please try this. This is also not worthy of a lot of time. I'm giving you, in fact, 1 minute 30 seconds for this. This is that small. Quickly, people, quickly. See what time is needed for the next question. See, Albela, Bob, and Chulbul have to read a document of 78 pages and make a presentation the next day. They very cleverly hidden the numeric data point in words. They realized that the article is difficult to understand and they would require teamwork to finish the assignment. Albela can read a page in 2 minutes, Bob in 3 minutes, and Chulbul in 4 minutes. If they divide the article into three parts so that all of them spend the equal amount of time on the article, the number of pages that Bob should read is. What we've been given is times for these people. Albela and Bob and Chulbul, 2 minutes and 3 minutes and 4 minutes. If the work is constant, if the work is constant, if the ratio of times is this, the ratio of their efficiencies can be identified, which will simply be the reciprocal of this. 1 by 2 is to 1 by 3 is to 1 by 4, which we can happily break down as 6 is to 4 is to 3. The ratio of the respective efficiencies is 6 is to 4 is to 3. Now, if they divide the article into three parts so that all of them spend equal amount of time on the article. Now, if all of them have to spend equal amount of time on the article, the work distribution should happen in the ratio of their efficiency. इसको अगर हमने 6 पेज पढ़ने बोला, ये 1 मिनट में निपटा देगा. इसको अगर हमने 4 पेज पढ़ने बोला, ये 1 मिनट में निपटा देगा. इसको अगर हमने 3 पेज पढ़ने बोला, ये 1 मिनट में निपटा देगा. आई एम नॉट टू फर्स्ट बाई द नंबर ऑफ मिनट्स दैट दे आर टेकिंग. आई एम सेइंग in the time that he does 6 units of work. It is the same time that he does 4 units of work, is the same time that he does 3 units of work. If I want them to spend an equal amount of time, the work should be distributed among them in the ratio of their efficiencies. So if I'm looking to identify how many pages should Bob read, it should be 4 by 6 plus 4 plus 3 into the total work, which was the 78 pages. So we get 4 by 13 into 78, which cancels out to give us 24, or option 1 is indeed the right answer. Okay, which lots of people have answered. Wonderful. Let's look at this question then. Again, 2 minutes 30 seconds is good enough. Please try. Answer, people. Four. Okay. Stories and stories galore. Pradeep could either walk or drive to office. Let's say he's at home. The time taken to walk to office is 8 times the driving time, which means time for walking is 8t and time for driving is t. So speed of walking is s and speed of driving is 8s. If the ratio of times here is 8 is to 1, the ratio of speeds has to be 1 is to 8. He's at home. One day his wife took the car, making him walk to office. After walking 1 kilometer, he reached a temple. He's at a temple now. When his wife called to say that he can now take the car, Pradeep figured that continuing to walk to the office will take as long as walking back home and then driving to the office. Let's say his office was somewhere here. Office was somewhere here. He figured if I went back walking and then took a car and returned, versus I kept on walking. In either case, it would take him identical time. It would take him same time. Pradeep figured that continuing to walk to the office will take as long as walking back home and then driving to the office. Calculate the distance between the temple and the office. Okay. Now we know this distance is 1 kilometer. And what is finally asked of us is this distance, this d. So what is the time that it would take him to walk from temple to the office? It is d divided by speed of walking, which is s. And what time would it take him to walk back home? It would be 1 divided by s plus d plus 1. This distance of d plus 1 being traveled at the rate of 8s. 1 kilometer walk किया and d plus 1 kilometer drive किया. The times taken in either situation is identical. तो equate कर दिया. Once you equate them, the denominator s goes for a toss everywhere. We get 8d is equal to d plus 9, or we get 7d is equal to 9, or d is equal to 9 by 7, or option 3 is the right answer. Yo. Here, simply, even if you'd taken their walking speed as 1 and driving speed as 8, you had assumed some number, still you would have arrived at an acceptable, reasonable answer. That would not be a problem. Okay, next question. Please try this one. This will perhaps take you more than 3 minutes. Please try this one. I will be back shortly. Okay. मजा आया, मजा आया। दुख हुआ इस सवाल को करने में, होपफुली मार्केट। Did you reach a point where you had one equation and two variables and you weren't able to proceed any further? Did you reach a point where you had one equation, two variables and couldn't proceed any further? This is a XAT special. This is a XAT special, वो करता ही है. There will be, I think, one or two more questions जिसके अंदर ये tendency दिखेगी XAT की. Rani bought more apples than oranges. Now this is a data that most people will not pay attention to, जिसके चक्कर में सवाल फंसेगा. She sells apples at 23 apiece and makes 15% profit. She sells oranges at rupees 10 apiece and makes 25% profit. If she gets rupees 653 after selling all the apples and oranges, find her profit percentage. Okay. So we have CP, SP, and क्या था कहानी? Apples and oranges. इसका अगर 23 है and profit is 15%, you can backwards calculate CP would be 20. यहाँ पे अगर SP 10 है और profit 25% है, backwards calculate again, CP will be 8. So what we have is, इनकी क्वांटिटी का मेरे को आइडिया नहीं है. This is X, this is Y. This is X, this is Y. But what we know is 23 times of X plus 10 times of Y is equal to 653. Now this is where people will get stuck, क्योंकि इसके बाद आगे क्या बढ़े. But the unspoken condition here is X and Y have to be integral. You cannot have fruits in decimals. And we also know more apples than oranges on it. So the first solution set, first acceptable solution set that you can perhaps reach here is X being 1 and Y being 1 निकला तो 63. The next solution set would be this increasing by 10, this decreasing by 23, which will make it 11 and decreasing by 23, 40. The next solution set, possible solution set, would be this increasing by 10 and this decreasing by 23. And the next solution set would be this increasing by 10, this reducing by 23 and leading us to -6. Now, this is not possible because you cannot buy -6 oranges. This is not possible and this is not possible because you were told he bought more apples than oranges. So this is the only acceptable case, which tells us the profit that is earned is 3 rupees here, is 2 rupees here. The profit is earned is 21 into 3 plus 17 into 2. And the cost that is incurred is 21 into 20 plus 17 into 8. And this we need in percentage terms. 21 into 3 is 63 plus 34 by 420 plus 136. So we get to 97 by 556. Okay. अब इसी को अगर सॉल्व करना है, then we get to 9700 by 556. 556, we get 14, 414 का 0. So 7 into 6 का 2, 4 carried over का 9, 3 carried over का 38. We get 8, 13 minus 9 ka 4, 40 minus 38 ka 2. So now we have 17 whole 248 by 556. Can you see this has to be less than 17.5? From this year on, SAT is also giving us a calculator. In fact, a scientific calculator that will make our life very easy. From this year on, SAT will also give us a scientific calculator, which will make our life very easy. But in the years when calculator was not available, at that time you had to use this idea. कि 17.5 से कम होना है, 17 से ज्यादा होना है, 17.5 से कम होना है. The correct choice here has to be 2. And the critical bit that leads us to the answer is understanding, despite having just one equation with two variables, because there were additional pieces of information that apples had to be more than oranges and apples and oranges both had to be integral, You can most definitely solve this question. Is it? Yo, let's go to the next one then. Please try. This one should also not take more than 2 minutes. Please try. Okay, I have one. Excellent. Let's see. Four two-way pipes A, B, C, D can either fill an empty tank or drain the full tank in 4, 10, 12, 20 minutes. When it says two-way pipes, what they mean by it is these pipes can be used to fill up the tank also, and these pipes can be used to drain the tank also. Both those things these tanks can do. Okay, so then right now, अब ये देखते हैं A can fill it up in 4 minutes, B can fill it up in 10 minutes, or they can do the either thing in this much time. C can do it in 12 minutes, and D can do it in 20 minutes. In either place, what works best is LCM लेना इनका. Let the total task itself be 60 units. So then A works at the rate of efficiencies, works at the rate of 15, B works at the rate of 6, C works at the rate of 5, and D works at the rate of 3. Their individual efficiencies are known if the entire task is assumed to be 60 units. All the four pipes were opened simultaneously when the tank is empty. Under which of the following conditions the tank would be half filled after 30 minutes? Given that we have taken our tank size as 60, we want 30 units done in 30 minutes, or we want the net rate of working to be 1 unit per minute. So let's look at the options. First one tells us A is positive and B, C, D are negative. -6, -5, -3. And yes, this does indeed give me the rate of working as 1 unit per minute. So most likely this is the answer. But given this is XAT, and XAT has historically had options, more than one of the above two is correct. वो भी नीचे check कर लेना. इसमें देख लेते हैं. The second one would be directly the inverse, -15 plus 6 plus 5 plus 3, which gets us to a rate of -1. We don't want this. A and D drained. So -15 -3 plus 6 plus 5, which gets us to a net rate of -7. We don't want this. Pipes A and D filled. It will get us to a net rate of 7. The signs will simply change. And none of the above we can rule out because option 1 did indeed get us to the answer. The correct choice here is indeed option 1. Wonderful. Let's go to the next one then. Please try this one. This should not take more than 2 minutes. We have twos, twos galore. बहुत सारे twos आ गए. Nice. Okay. This one. A shop which sold same marked price shirts, as in every shirt had the same marked price, announced an offer. If one buys 3 shirts, then the fourth shirt is sold at a discounted price. Discounted price of rupees 100 only. It's not like the discount is 100 rupees. The fourth price is sold at 100 rupees. Patel took the offer. He left the shop with 20 shirts. See, for 20 shirts, full price he would have paid for 15 shirts and discounted price for 5 shirts. So for 5 shirts, because the discounted price was 100, he would have paid 500. And for 15 shirts, he would have paid 19,500. He paid 20,000 in total. Then the marked price of a shirt, we can happily get to 19,500 by 15, which is equal to 1,400, which loads of us have managed to reach. Excellent. This one then, this will require significant time. Please try. I have 4. I have another 4. Excellent. Okay, folks. Look at this. Arup and Swaroop leave point A at 8 a.m. to point B. Okay. So at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., both Arup and Swaroop are at the same spot. To reach B, they have to work first 2 kilometers. The first part of the journey is walking, and this is 2 kilometers. Then travel 4 kilometers by boat. So boat journey, 4 kilometers. And then the final 20 kilometer by car. Car, 20 kilometers. Brilliant. Arup and Swaroop walk at a constant speed of 4 kilometers per hour and 5 kilometers per hour. If he walks at the rate of 4 and he walks at the rate of 5, he will take 30 minutes for this journey. Arup will take 30 minutes for this journey. Swaroop will take 24 minutes for this journey. Okay. Each rows his boat for 30 minutes. So I can also conclude they row their boat at the rate of 8 and they take 30 minutes each. Okay. Arup drives his car at a constant speed of 50 kilometers per hour. He drives at the rate of 50 kilometers per hour, while Swaroop drives at 40 kilometers per hour. 40 kilometers per hour. If no time is wasted in transit, when will they meet? Clearly see, they will not meet in the boat journey because both of them are taking same amount of time. And Swaroop would have taken some sort of lead. In the walking portion, he has taken a 6-minute ka lead. In terms of time, he has taken a 6-minute ka lead. So when Arup is transitioning from walking to boating, at that time or at that instant, the time is 8:30. But when he is transitioning, the time is 8:24. When he gets to the transition point of boat to car, at that instant, the time is 9 o'clock. But when Swaroop transitions, at that instant, the time is 8:54, which means for 6 minutes, for the first 6 minutes of Swaroop's journey, for the first 6 minutes, he was moving in a car and Arup hasn't even started his third part ka journey. So in 6 minutes, how much distance would Swaroop have traveled? In 1/10 of an hour, at the rate of 40 kilometers per hour, he would have traveled 4 kilometers. So this is the starting part. Swaroop has managed to reach the car journey. This is the starting part. Swaroop has managed to reach here at 8:54. At 9, when Arup is here, Swaroop is somewhere here, 4 kilometers forward. He is charging ahead at the rate of 40 kilometers per hour. He is charging ahead at the rate of 50 kilometers per hour. The gap between them is 4 kilometers. In how much time will Arup catch up to Swaroop? It will be 4 divided by 10. The relative speed is 10. Both of them are moving in the same direction. Or he will do it in 2 by 5 of an hour, which is as good as 24 minutes. So after 9 o'clock, it would take them 24 minutes to meet again. Or the correct answer is option 4, 9:24 a.m. as obtained by several people. Excellent, people, excellent. Next one then. We are moving into the geometry part of the work. The figure below. Now, I haven't started the time. Let me give you 2 minutes, 30 seconds. If you're able to arrive at the answer, आइदर ये 2.5 मिनट में हो जाएगा और ये नहीं होगा. इट्स नॉट लाइक कैलकुलेशन विल ट्रिप यू अप हियर. इट इज सिंपली आता है या नहीं आता है. I have lots of fours coming through. Okay. So I have two fours coming through. पिछले वाले फोर्स पे हम डिस्ट्रैक्ट हो रहे थे. ओके. वन वंडरफुल थिंग पीपल, यहाँ पे ना मोस्ट लाइकली अपने डायग्राम का एरर होगा, तभी जो आंसर्स आए गलत आए. In the figure below, two circular curves create 60° and 90° angles with their respective centers. If the length of the bottom curve is 10 pi, this is 10 pi. Find the length of the other curve. I need the length of this curve. Okay. Now see, the two circles that are in play here, the two centers, they are distinct. The circles are distinct. But what is identical for both these curves is the chord length. I'm drawing two diagrams. Please tell me, अगर सेंट्रल एंगल 60 है तो इज द बाउंड्री नियरर, या सेंट्रल एंगल 90 है तो इज द बाउंड्री नियरर. इन विच केस इज द सेंट्रल एंगल नियरर, व्हेन द सेंट्रल एंगल इज 90 और व्हेन द सेंट्रल एंगल इज 60. 60 वाले केस में, सो दिस 10 pi is for the 60° वाला कहानी. This 10 pi is for the arc of 60° circumference. Now, if 10 pi is given here, can I say this 10 pi is as good as 60 by 360 into 2 pi r? Let's say this is the radius r. This is told to us as 10 pi. So pi and pi cancelled. 60 and 360 cancel to give me 6. 6 and 2 cancel to give me 3. Our radius turns out to be 30. For this smaller circle, if the radius is 30 and the central angle subtended here is 30, can I say the chord length here is also 30? All these three sides. This is pretty much an equilateral triangle that gets created. And given that the chord is identical, the chord that gets created here is the same length of chord that gets created here. This is 30. This is an isosceles right angle triangle. So the radius for the other circle will be 15 root 2 and 15 root 2. Remember, these two are identical. Isosceles right angle triangle have ratio of length of sides as 1:1:root 2. So if this is 15 root 2, now the length of this arc is what we are seeking. Length of this arc, that will be given by 90 by 360 into 2 into pi into 15 root 2. 90 and 360 gone makes it 4. 4 and 2 gone makes it 2. Now 15 root 2 by 2 makes it 15 pi by root 2, or the correct option here is option 1. Most likely the error would have been इसको हमने 90 डिग्री का मान लिया होगा, इसको हमने 90 डिग्री का मान लिया होगा, और फिर 60 का काम करने गए होंगे, विच वुड बी एन एरोनियस वे टू अप्रोच दिस। सेम सर्कल ले लिया था, सेम सर्कल में सेम कॉर्ड पे अपने 30 बना रहे हैं और 60 बना, मतलब 60 बन रहा है, 90 बन रहा है, वो तो बहुत ही ज्यादा फन है। ओके, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन देन। दिस इज 1 मिनट का क्वेश्चन, प्लीज ट्राई। ओके, ठीक, ये देखेंगे। ABC and XYZ are equilateral triangles of 54 centimeter sides. All smaller triangles ANM, OCP, OPX, etc. are also equilateral triangles. Find the area of the shape MNO, PQRM. We are looking for area of this portion. ठीक है। The only way this works is if these lines that are there, they're getting trisected. Mm, if they are getting trisected, only then this shape can be created. ये भी equilateral, ये भी equilateral, ये भी equilateral. So we pretty much have a hexagon of side 18 whose area needs to be calculated. So it will be 6 into root 3 by 4 into 18 square, which is 324. So we cancel, we get to 81. 81 into 6 is 486 root 3, or option 2 is the right answer. Now यहीं पे इस डायग्राम के अंदर hopefully we remember this प्यारा काम। Dividing an equilateral triangle into several parts. These are 9 smaller equilateral triangles it has been cut out into. The portion जिसका area मांगा है ना, is this area in 6 का। You could very well have gone down the path of also doing 2 by 3 into root 3 by 4 into 54 into 54, and your answer would still be identical, precise same चीज ही रहेगी। एक इक्विलैटरल ट्रायंगल में से ये बीच का 6 स्मॉलर ट्रायंगल्स आउट ऑफ 9 का गेम देखना था। So gives us 2, gives us 27, gives us 9, and you can perhaps see 9 into 54 is still 486 root 3, which is your final answer. Okay, this question then, people, this question, this is a XAT special. Last few seconds in progress. I have a 5 Valiant. Okay, let's look at this. The volume of a pyramid with a square base is 200 centimeter cubic. Now see how a square base pyramid would look like. You have a square at the bottom, and then mm, like these, basically 4 triangles on the 4 sides visible and a square surface at the bottom. Now volume is given of a square, volume is given as 200 centimeter cube. Volume of a pyramid is 1 by 3 into base area into height. The base area is unknown. The height of the pyramid is 13. So 1 by 3 into s square into 13 is equal to 200, or s square is equal to 600 by 13. Do not waste too much time and energy in identifying what is the value of s, because we don't know what we need eventually. If at all we need the precise value of s eventually, then we'll engage in trying to find what precisely the value here is. Otherwise, let it be. Next, what will be the length of the slant edges? Oh, if I need the length of this slant edge, I need the length of this slant edge. The best way to do that is right at the center, right at the center. This height is given to me as 13. This height is given to me as 13. And this point here, half the diagonal of the square. I can perhaps use a separate highlighter to show you this is the triangle we are concerned with. This is a right angle triangle we are concerned with. The height is already given to us as 13. This is half the diagonal. Now diagonal of a square is s root 2. Because I need half the diagonal, this is going to be d by 2 is going to be equal to s by root 2. Now this slant height is going to be height square plus d by 2 whole square is equal to the slant height, let me name it m square. This is the equation we are dealing with. Now height square I already know to be 13 square or 169. D by 2 whole square will be as good as s square by 2. And this is equal to my slant height square. S square is 600 by 13. So I get my m square as 169 plus 300 by 13. 300 by 13. Now don't do 169 into 13 and get to 2187 or 2197, whatever is 13 cube, and then do your subsequent processing. Simply, given that the answers are very, very integral in nature and squares jump with a huge gap, I know 299 is divisible by 13. 299 is uh, 23 into 13. So I am approximating it to, it is roughly equal to 169 plus 23, or m square is roughly equal to 192. And the idea for me roughly approximating it to 23 and doing it is this here in the question. It told me to round it off to the nearest integer. If m square is 192, m would roughly be equal to 14. And option 3 is the right answer here. I don't need to do precise calculation. Again, with the introduction of scientific calculator this year, perhaps this will not be a skill that gets highlighted or you need to actually go ham on. Lekin फिर भी, if you know it, it is always better. Okay. And more than that, यहाँ पे तो I think square base वाला pyramid का काम ही would trip people up. Next one then. this question, A, B, and C, D. I'll give you another roughly 2 minutes. Either you can solve it in 2 minutes or you will not be able to solve it. वही game है और कुछ नहीं इसमें. Okay, a good rule of thumb, whenever you're working on question like this, value of something is the least, value of something is the least, and subsequent calculations have to take place. And it's a geometry based question, of course. At that time, please think of right angle triangles. That is where this maximization, minimization happens for for triangles. The changeover point is the right angle triangle. You have acute triangles, you have obtuse triangles. In between, right angle triangles are the best thing. But that aside, let's go read. A, B, C, D, E, F are three parallel lines in that order. Great. Let D1 and D2 be the distances from CD to AB and EF. D1 and D2 respectively. D1 and D2 are integers where D1 is to D2 is 2 is to 1. So CD to AB is 2 units, whereas CD to EF is 1 unit. So one line here, another line here, another line here. This is what we are going for. This is AB, this is CD, this is EF. P is a point on AB. Q and S are points on CD, and R is the point on EF. ठीक है? P is a point on AB, Q and S are points on CD, and R is a point on EF. Right now, don't just randomly put down points because there could be more information about how they're related, how far away they are. So we'll take care of that. If the area of quadrilateral PQRS is 30 square units, what is the value of QR when the value of SR is the least? Understand, I want the value of SR to be the least. So the best way to reduce the distance between S and R, S was a point on CD and R is a point on EF. The best way to reduce the distance between S and R is to take them perpendicularly right under each other. If this is S, this is R, and now I can take Q here. And in the same way, I can take P anywhere. I can pretty much take P anywhere. There is no condition about P. Everywhere would be fine. But I'm choosing to take it here because it would be easier to visualize and solve in everything. Now, look at this. This is my PQ. This is my QR. This is my SR. And this is my PS. They're telling me PQRS, this quadrilateral has an area of 30 square units. Value of SR is the least. SR is essentially the distance between the two parallel lines. What is the minimum possible value that you can assign to SR? It is 1 centimeter. This is equivalent to D2. D1 and D2 are integers. The ratio of D1 is to D2 is 2 is to 1. This is D2, which would also tell me PQ is 2 centimeters or 2 units. If SR is the distance between two parallel lines, PQ is also the distance between two parallel lines. This is 2 units. This is 1 unit. So now, area of this triangle PQS would be half into 2 into QS, plus area of this triangle QSR would be half into 1 into QS. And this is told to us as 30 units, or 1.5 times of QS is equal to 30 units, or QS is equal to 20 units. This length here is identified as 20 units. If this length here is identified as 20 units, finally we want the value of QR. QSR is a right angle triangle. If one of the sides of the right angle triangle is 20, the hypotenuse most definitely has to be greater than 20. And therefore, the correct answer for this question will be option 5. The leading idea here is don't randomly allocate points. And if your least distance, max distance for triangles, the behavior changeover point, like we have it for mod-based question, behavior changeover point is the root. For behavior changeover point for triangles is the right angle triangle. Try to make right angle triangle to the extent possible. Okay, let's try this one then. This is also very, very challenging. I'm giving you 4 minutes to solve this, which should tell you perhaps how challenging this is. Please try this. I will be back shortly. Okay. Was the question challenging as expected? So let's see. ABCD is a rectangle. PQR are midpoints. A, B, C, D is a rectangle. PQR are midpoints of BC, CD, and DA. So P, Q, and R, P, Q, and R are midpoints of BC, CD, and DA. The point S lies on the line QR in such a way that SR is to QS is 1 is to 3. So we have a line here like this, and S lies in such a way that if this is X, this is 3X. The ratio of the triangle APS to rectangle ABCD is A, sorry, this line should go somewhere here, and APS to rectangle ABCD is. And then I don't know how to proceed any further. The way, I don't know if this is the technical solution or this is the right solution. What I found here was a jugaad solution. Hopefully this floats your boat. I saw that all the options had 128 in the denominator. And I took that up as a hint. If all the options have 128 in the denominator, area of the rectangle ABCD must definitely 128. If area of rectangle ABCD is most definitely 128, let me take two side dimensions, AB and BC, the length and breadth, two numbers that multiply to give me 128. And the two numbers I took were 8 and 16. The smaller side being 8, the longer side being 16. This is 16. This whole thing is 8, which means this is 4. This is 4. And then this point S, from S, I dropped two perpendiculars, one to DQ and one to AD. This is a perpendicular and this is a perpendicular. Remember, this is also 4. This entire thing is also 4. This is 8 and this is 8. If RS is to SQ is 1 is to 3, if RS is to SQ is 1 is to 3, then let's call this point N, let's call this point M. If RS is to SQ is 1 is to 3, then DN is to NQ will also be 1 is to 3. Or I can get this length as 2, this length as 6. Similarly, if RS is to SQ is 3 is to 1, sorry, RS is to SQ is 1 is to 3, then RM is to MD should also be 1 is to 3. So this length is 1, this length is 3. What this enables me to do is, now see, getting area of ASP is very difficult, but getting area of this trapezium can I do? Very much so. I have the two parallel lengths. I have the height between the two parallel sides, and working there on should be possible, should be happily possible for me. Sn will of course be 3, just like MD, Sn will be 3. So I can get the area of this trapezium. Similarly, I can get the area of this trapezium, SPCN. I can get the area of this trapezium, SPCN. And I can, of course, get the area of ABP. I can, of course, get the area of ABP. That is a simple triangle. Once from the total area of 128, I remove the area of ADNC from ABCD. I remove the area of ADNS and I remove the area of SPCN and I remove the area of ABP. I should get my area of APS. ABCD was already 128, so no problem. Now for ADNS, the two parallel sides, one is 3, one is 8. So the area of ADNS will be half into sum of parallel sides 11 into the distance between the parallel sides, which is 2. For SPCN, sum of lengths of the parallel sides 3 and 4, 7. So half into 7 into the distance between the parallel sides, which is 6 plus 8, 14. Area of ABP is half into 16 into 4. So this gives us 11. This gives us 49. This gives us 32. I have 128 minus 11 minus 49 minus 32, or I have 128 minus 92, which is 36. This area is 32. This area for the red trapezium is 11. The area for the purple trapezium is 49. The leftover area is APS, which is happily 36. And therefore, the answer to this question is option 1. I had a, let's call it a brain wave, which led me to take the sides length as 8 and 16. And then for my own interest and fun, what I also did was, would it only work for 8 and 16? What if I took the lengths as 4 into 32? Would it still work? I tried it out and it still worked. As long as I took ABCD rectangle areas as 128, finally as 128. It even worked at 2 and 64. At any set of numbers, I had to assume some set of numbers and then work my way forward. In any case, you will always get the same answer. 36 by 128 is going to be the answer. So this was my jugaad way of solving this. Did we understand what I've done here, people? Did we understand? ABCD as a square. You can consider ABCD as a square. I'm saying as long as the two numbers that you take, as long as the two numbers that you take here, they multiply to give you 128. If you've taken 8 root 2 and 8 root 2 as the two sides, length and breadth, that is also perfectly all right. It is just that the calculation might seem a little tedious. The calculation might seem a little tedious क्योंकि अब मेरे को √2, 6 √2, 2 √2, ऐसे ही √2 हर टर्म के अंदर एक एक्स्ट्रा आता रहेगा, which may not be very wonderful. Okay, next question. This is also pretty straightforward, but then probability का नाम सुनते ही probability and number theory दोनों mix है तो दुख हो ही जाता है. Please try. Wonderful. Yeah, this one. The probability that a randomly chosen positive divisor of 10 raised to the power 29 is an integer multiple of 10 raised power 23 is a square by b square. Then b minus a would be. Okay. So our sample space is all the factors of 10 raised power 29. 10 raised power 29 can be factorized as 2 raised power 29 into 5 raised power 29. And therefore, number of factors here would be 30 into 30. So the denominator here is most definitely, 30. B is 30. This gets identified very, very quickly. The second part is a little more tricky. If you're looking for a factor of 10 raised power 29, that is a multiple of 10 raised power 23, I can write 10 raised power 29 as 10 raised power 23 into 10 raised power 6. So any factor of 10 raised power 6 multiplied with 10 raised power 23 will also be a factor of 10 raised power 29. Essentially, we are looking for number of factors of 10 raised power 6, which is 2 raised power 6 into 5 raised power 6, or number of factors in this instance will be 7 into 7, or A is equal to 7. And therefore, when we are finally asked B minus A, we're looking for 30 minus 7, or the correct answer here is option 4, 23, which most of us have arrived at. Absolutely wonderful. Next question. This one then. Please try. This is a 2-minute 30-second question. Please try. The woo. This is one of those questions in which you end up with just one equation, yet an answer can be obtained. Let's see how that works. A teacher noticed a strange distribution of marks in the exam. There are only 3 distinct scores, 6, 8, and 20. Some people got 6, some people got 8, some people got 20. The mode of the distribution was 8. This was the mode. The sum of scores of all the students is 504. Let there be A students here, B students here, and C students here. We've been told 6A plus 8B plus 20C is 504. Okay. The total number of students in the most populated category, 8 is the mode, so this is the most populated category, was equal to the sum of the number of students with the lowest score and twice the number of students with the highest score. So they're telling me I don't need B here. This is A plus 2C, which would edit our equation here as well. I have 6A plus 8 times of A plus 2C plus 20C is equal to 504. Simplifying it, we get to 14A plus 36C is equal to 504. I can simplify this further. This will become 7A plus 18C is equal to 252. Fine. The total number of students in the class was. So total number of students that are being asked is A plus 2C plus C, or we are looking for 2A plus 3C. We're looking for the value of 2A plus 3C. Okay. Again, we have just one variable. Sorry, one equation, two variables. How do we solve this? By knowing the fact that kids can only be integral. Kids cannot be counted in decimals. Even if you were using dark humor and let's say there were amputee kids, you can't count them in decimals. You have to count them in full persons only. So let's try and identify one possible solution set. First possible solution set, I see 252 is divisible by 7. So entirely dividing it by 7, the first solution set I get is 36 and 0. But this is impossible because then if A is 36 and C is 0, we would have 6 and 8 both as the mode. We cannot have that. 6 and 8 both are not the mode. The mode of the distribution was 8 only. So the next case, A will come down by 18. This will become 18. This will go up by 7. Seems fine. Next case, this will become 0 and this will become 36. Sorry, this will become 14. Okay. If this is the case, if this is the case, now see what would happen. This would be 28. This would be 14 kids. And this would be 0 kids. And there is no problem here. There is no problem here. The mode remains 8. No challenge at all. But the challenge is this gives me the total number of kids as 42. And this is also, which is not present in the options. So anyway, this is a challenge. And the bigger challenge here is we were told there were only 3 distinct scores. If there were 3 distinct scores, you cannot have a group be unpopulated. One member of the group at least is needed. So if one member of the group is needed, at least one member of the group has to be present, then this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. This is the only acceptable case. So then our 2A plus 3C would be 2 into 18 plus 3 into 7, 36 plus 21. Or total number of kids in the school, number of students in the class will be 57, which is option 5. Okay. Next question. This is a very, very easy question. I'll give you like 1 minute for it. उससे ज़्यादा नहीं लगना चाहिए. Okay, let's see. In an amusement park, along with the entry pass, a visitor gets 2 of the 3 available rides, A, B, C free. So you don't get all 3 rides available. You only get 2 of the 3. Okay. So let's put everything down. I have ride A, I have ride B, I have ride C. You get 2 of the 3 available rides. On a particular day, 77 opted for ride A. 77 here. 55 opted for B and 50 opted for C. Fine. 25 visitors opted for A and C. A and C, only space left is here. So this is 25. 22 opted for both A and B. So 22 here, 22 here, 25 here. I can happily put this down as 30. Number is known. While no visitor opted for both B and C. Nobody here. So out of 55, 22 is gone. This becomes 33. Out of 25, out of 50, 25 is gone. This becomes 25. Excellent. Now, how many visited with entry pass on that day? They're essentially asking us union of all this. So our answer will be 77 plus 33 plus 25. I think of it as this entire circle I know is 77. Then I have 33 extra, takes it to 110 plus 25, takes it to 135. Or the correct answer here is option 4, 135. Very, very straightforward. Hopefully, we did not miss out on this portion of the question. A visitor gets only two of the three available, right? So middle portion gets cancelled instantly. Even if you did make a mistake of not cancelling the middle portion there, even if you did make the mistake for, oh, I made a mistake here. 1 minute. 40 visitors did not opt for ride A or B or both. Then I'd have to change. 1 minute. I have not paid attention to that part. My mistake. Let me check. I'd have to take care of A or B or both. Let's see. A is 77. B is how much? 55. And C is 50. Everybody got two rides. 25 visitors opted for A and C. So 25 here. 22 opted for both A and B. So 22 here. So this is most definitely 30. This is done. While no visitor opted for both B and C. This is also gone. 40 visitors did not opt for ride A or B or both. If you don't opt for A or don't opt for B or both, दोनों ही नहीं किया, then this is 25 and then I need 15 more people. But 15 more people की कहानी में gets 2 of the 3 available rides free. But इसमें दिक्कत ये हो जाएगी okay, I understand वो 150 वाला आंसर कैसे पहुंचा I understand now. But then my interpretation of the question is going haywire now. Because the question had stated visitor gets 2 of the 3 available rides. Anyway, that is going haywire. ठीक है, no problem at all. This will be 33. Now 40 people have not opted for A or B. Safi A or B. So this 25 here and this 15 here. 15 काउंट नहीं करेंगे 15 काउंट करेंगे क्योंकि ये समझो इफ योर इंटरप्रिटेशन इज अगर आपको एंट्री पास मिला है तो आप कुछ ना कुछ राइड लेंगे ही इज दैट योर ऑब्जेक्शन सिद्धार्थ ओके आई हैड द सेम ऑब्जेक्शन बट देन द क्वेश्चन इज गिविंग मी द इंफॉर्मेशन दैट कैन नॉट बी करेक्ट यहाँ पे उन्होंने बोला है एंट्री पास का विजिटर 2 ऑफ द 3 अवेलेबल राइड्स ले लेगा बट यहाँ पे फन गेम ये हो गया कि भाई देर आर पीपल हु आर टेकिंग एग्जैक्टली वन राइड देर आर पीपल हु आर टेकिंग एग्जैक्टली वन राइड अगर लोग 2 राइड अवेलेबल थे आप एक राइड ले सकते हैं इफ यू हैव द ऑप्शन ऑफ शनिंग वन राइड एंड टेकिंग ओनली वन राइड देन यू आल्सो हैव द ऑप्शन ऑफ शनिंग बोथ दोज राइड्स सो देयर कैन बी पीपल who've gotten an entry pass and have not taken any additional rides so ये 15 का काउंट रहेगा has to be counted and then the answer should be 150 then yo ठीक सिद्धार्थ को आ गया तो चलेगा थैंक यू सो देखो मोस्ट लाइकली हम एग्जाम में मस्त गलत मार जाते एंड यू वुड हैव कॉट ऑन ऋषिका वाज द फर्स्ट वन टू आंसर नो वंडरफुल ऋषिका हम मस्त गलती करते हैं इस सवाल में। आई थिंक वी आर ओवर एक्सटेंडेड, 2 घंटे के ऊपर हो गया है ये। दिस विल बी द लास्ट क्वेश्चन वी डू फॉर द डे, और फिर बाकी सवाल कभी और देख लेंगे। ये सवाल करो भाई लोग। x 17 so on and so forth, four consecutive terms of an increasing arithmetic sequence. I haven't allotted any time to this now. A few more seconds and then we are going to end it. पिछले वाले सवाल में खोए हुए हैं अभी, वो सवाल में क्या हिला। Okay. Enough time has passed, अब तक आ जाना चाहिए। I have absolutely no clue. I'm very bad at keeping track of time. So maybe I've given you very little time, लेकिन I think I'm done with the पुराना वाला issues. So I'm moving on. ये x 17, 3x minus y square minus 2 and 3x plus y square minus 30 are four consecutive terms of an increasing arithmetic sequence. Increasing arithmetic sequence. Great. And there are four consecutive terms. Whenever you've got AP, whenever you've got an AP, things that should come to your head. The differences are constant. The sum of two extremes is twice the middle term. ये दोनों आइडिया फट दिमाग में आने चाहिए। द सम ऑफ द फोर नंबर्स इज डिविजिबल बाय, एसेंशियली चारों टर्म्स निकाल देंगे तो सब कुछ मिल ही जाएगा। तो आई एम यूजिंग सम ऑफ दीज टू शुड बी ट्वाइस ऑफ 17। सो 4x minus y square minus 2 is equal to 34, और 4x minus y square is equal to 36। एक इक्वेशन, और one expression that I've narrowed it down to is this. Then I'm going to use these two, and twice of summation of 17 and this should be twice of this. So 3x plus y square minus 13 should be equal to 6x minus 2y square minus 4. ठीक, we get 3y square minus 3x is equal to 9, or y square minus x is equal to 3. This is excellent, because if I put it down here, I get 3x is equal to 39 और x is equal to 13. अब अपने को AP के दो टर्म्स मिल गए, 13 and 17. The next two terms are easy to figure out. You can also go ahead and put the value of x here, put the value of y here, and then do the subsequent work. लेकिन हम बोल रहे if I have two terms, the next two terms are also identified. And now sum of these four terms would be 13 plus 25 by 2 into 4. Cancel 2. 38 into 2, which is 76. Now, if I'm looking for the sum of the four numbers is divisible by what? The answer is option 1, 2. Yo, I would love to do एक और कर दे क्या दोनों गाना करके एक और कर देते एक और कर देते प्लीज ट्राई वन मोर प्लीज ट्राई वन मोर आई हैव लाइक आफ्टर दिस आई हैव 10 मोर तो ये तो खत्म कर ही दो a die is rolled twice. What is the probability that the number in the second roll will be higher than that in the first? Okay, excellent people, excellent. See, इसको अगर टेक्निकली सॉल्व करने जाएंगे ज्यादा मेहनत है, अगर लॉजिकली सॉल्व करेंगे तो बहुत जल्दी इट वुड नॉट इवन टेक एज मच टाइम एज इट हैज टेकन राइट नाउ. बस ये समझिएगा, व्हेन यू रोल टू डाइस you get 36 outcomes. You get 36 outcomes. When you roll two dice, you get 36 outcomes. Out of these 36, 6 outcomes, both the numbers would be same. 1 1, 2 2, 3 3, 4 4, 5 5, 6 6. 6 outcomes में दोनों डाइस पे सेम नंबर आएगा. अच्छा, now the remaining cases, both the numbers are distinct. Now, which number is more likely to be larger? Neither. Both numbers are equally likely to be larger. So, out of the remaining 30 cases, 15 में A is greater than B, first number is greater than B, और remaining 15 में A is less than B. So, what is the probability that the number in the second roll will be higher than that in the first? After I've removed the 6 cases where both the numbers are identical, सीधा half कर देना था, and you get your answer. Now, let's say this line of thought is not very natural to us. Worst case में, this is the sort of question that I expect. जो अकलमंद है वो बड़ी जल्दी कर देगा, but जो अकलमंद नहीं है, और let's say quant is not our strongest suit, I would still expect you to go down this path. 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 1 5, 1 6, 2 3, 2 4, 2 5, 2 6, 3 4, 3 5, 3 6, 4 5, 4 6, and 5 6. So I have 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. We have 15 favorable cases out of a total of 36 cases when two dice are rolled. कोई ऐसी लिस्ट बना के भी, this is most definitely in the wheelhouse of those जो क्वांट में वीक भी है ना, कंपैरेटिवली वीक है, और दैट इज नॉट आवर स्ट्रॉन्गेस्ट सेक्शन. तब भी ये सवाल तो आपसे पक्के से निकल ही जाना चाहिए. देयर इज नो वे यू मिस आउट ऑन दिस क्वेश्चन. एंड देन आई थिंक वील एंड इट हियर फॉर टुडे. होपफुली यू लर्नड समथिंग. if at all you enjoyed, or या कुछ मतलब if you felt this was useful, let me know in the comments. Perhaps that से पहले एक बार और कुछ खेल लेंगे, मे बी DM खेल लेंगे, मे बी क्वांट खेल लेंगे, जो भी करेंगे. Ending the live stream now.